Good morning, everybody. Let's let everybody funnel in here and then we'll get started. There is a litany to cover this morning, right? There's just a ton going on. So, between these social media companies that's absolutely exploding to what happened with Snap last night, which I really want to get into at Intel, there's a lot there that I really want people to look at. There's a ton of trading opportunity today, like literally a ton. So, just keep that in mind today. Like we haven't had a week like this where we've had this many opportunities, in my opinion, in a very long time. And that's definitely something where we need to focus on that. Now, um, I would just start here, okay, and let's just start getting into it because there's so much to go over. But let's just go through this very quickly, okay? And then we can get into all of it. And you can see what I've been looking at over here all morning. Um, I'm leaving this up, this recently viewed. If I don't leave it up, please just, hey, you forgot to put it up, and I'll put it up immediately. Look, this is a massive, massive move down on what they're stating are, over a 10% cut to revenues. It's not what you want to see. Good morning, everybody. And you really need to watch this. This can get a lot worse. Okay. To put this in perspective, and I'm leaving the pre and post in today. This was pins. Okay. So I don't know. And we just had this move in pins, and I'm not so sure that PayPal's going to be looking at them and going, we need to get involved in this. So let's see what happens here today. I would not be trying to buy this bounce. Here's how I would play this, because this was a major shift. Okay. When you see a major shift like that, people are going to start getting out of these positions because until they understand what they're going to do with them. Now, that said, Facebook, this is the one I would trade. Okay. Caveat, I have a position in this one, but let's just kind of go through it so you can kind of see. Okay. Sold down, and it's just been bouncing up ever since. Okay. If this comes back down to this level, which is very doable, I would add to it again. Over 330, you made half the distance between this. So it's a pretty clear spot to take some off the table. But if you can get back down to this level, you need to focus on this name. The other name I'd focus on, and then I'll start taking questions, but I also want to cover Intel. So hopefully a lot of the questions, or some of the questions, are about Intel, because that's going to affect us as well today. So look at this Roku move, okay? There's no reason for Roku to drop on this. They're not tied to Apple, or they're not tied to, Snap. It's a completely different metric. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, I can see some questions coming through on the Intel. So we'll get to them in order. Let's just get to it. So let's start here. Coco. What is this? The coconut water company? Yeah, I mean, it's not something I would be going near. This is your range, and you're stuck in this range, okay, until you break out of it. Okay, so until I broke out of that range, I wouldn't even look at it. If you're looking at trying to just trade it, you have to look at something a little thinner, right? Like this. And again, all we're seeing is just selling the whole way down. So this is not something I would be personally getting involved with. Get rid of that really quickly. So I would watch that a little bit. I wouldn't do that. Hey, no, good morning. ATVI, Activision. Yeah, a lot of people are watching this one, and it's on a lot of lists. I'm getting a lot of questions about it. Maybe they see something in the chart. Look, this was solid, okay? But you have a level here you have to get over. Now, this was your break over this level, right? But you still have a higher peak here. Now, I can move this, for time's sake, just right up to there. And you can see that 79.05 level and why you're having an issue with it. So this is not something that I would personally be jumping into. It's something that I would be avoiding, frankly, until I got over that level. Now, you can throw in your bells and whistles. Let's get rid of the data. But let's just throw in our bells and whistles and just see what's going on here, right? I'm throwing them all in this morning. So, yeah, I mean, you have the cross, but look at how this is defined. right? Like these are the trades that are working right now. And I can't stress that enough. And you might want to remember what I just said there. The trades that are working exceptionally well are the ones that are getting right through the 50-day. So if this gets through the 50-day, yes, it would have my attention. Absolutely. Until it gets through that 50-day, Doug, it doesn't have my attention. But if it does, yeah, I pay attention to that. And just remember, Doug, you got earnings coming out, right? November 2nd. So TDAC, hey, Param, I saw your comment. I did plan on covering it. Um, I don't know what they do. I don't know what the merger is. I don't know anything. So obviously, obviously this is something that I was playing with before. Let's get rid of everything and let's get rid of the indicators. And you basically have wick city, right? You just have wick after wick, rejection, bonk, bonk, bonk all over the place. So what I would do is I would look for where those levels are, right? 1385, boom. Okay. There's your level. I mean, that's what you have to focus on, right? And you can see how you have constant levels around it too. 1394, 14. So I'm not sure what they do. It's obviously a SPAC. What they're going to be put into it, I don't know, and that's going to affect it. But these are your levels, and this is what you'd have to watch. All right. So let's get into it. Tesla, yeah, Tesla. Let's get to it. So I think that this has, and people are going to think that, yeah, no kidding, but I think this has massive potential, just absolute potential. If you follow along in the newsletter, these are the spots that we're in on the newsletter. To me, getting through this level is going to be monumental. And I think you're going to see a lot of people kicking themselves for not buying it here. And I just want to point this out. If you bought Tesla this year, you're underperforming the market, right? So if you look at the Qs, just to put it in perspective, right, from where you were in January to here, right, you've had a good year if you just bought the Qs, right? If you bought Tesla at the beginning of the year and you left it alone, you haven't made any money, right? This is the first time that you're going to make money. So you're going to see people buy this when we break out through here. And notice the words I used, when, not if. So I would, if you're not in this, you need to pay attention to it at this point. Let me get rid of this, take that down. And then the other one you asked about was UPST. And then I'm going to cover AMD and I'm going to cover that whole section at once. So this is trying to find support, okay? 346.54 support. So I'm leaving pre-market data in today. You came to 350. You formed this inverted hammer. I would not go near this until it shows me that it's worthy going near. Okay, right now you broke a rising wedge. Here, look. Look at this rising wedge, okay? Well, you didn't really break it yet, did you? Okay, watch that rising wedge. If you break that rising wedge, you didn't really break it yet. You could head to 286. Now, what does that mean for me? Well, maybe I stop here at 332. Maybe I don't, right? We've broken it before. So I'm not a big buyer of this here, okay? I'm not a big buyer of stocks that are going under the 8-day while the rest of the market's going up, right? It's losing interest. Before I cover AMD, I'm just going to get into this all at once. So I'm just going to get into this really, really carefully here with Intel. So look, let's go through it. Okay, you're below all your moving averages. Okay, and if you go and take a look at this, you're even below this point now, right? So like this is not good. Like this is really, really bad. And I think that this is going to continue. If you look at the earnings data, every earnings has just been an outright disaster. I don't know why people thought this one was going to be any different, but they are getting their lunch eaten by AMD and specialty chips and graphic chips. AMD through 122.49 is probably going to keep going. Now you have earnings coming up early next week. So I don't know how many people are going to want to play that with Tuesday's earnings, but there's definitely a trade there if you break through this level. Now, with that said, okay, I would also focus on this name. I would also focus on the video. Caveat, I have a position in this, but if you get over this 230.50, I just think you're going to see major buying coming in and stepping in. So I like AMD here. You know, we've been talking about it for some time. AEHR. So this did what we wanted it to do. Right? Came down, tested this line, and now what did it do? It went up. Let's see if you can follow through today. If not, the red bar is still in charge, right? The red bar is in charge until you clear it, right? So we have to clear that bar. So until you're through 2265, the red bar is in charge. There was a short-term trade here yesterday that we did for like right off of that rip. And that made $1, but the real big move is going to get back in through 2265. That's what I would look for there. Yeah, Shane, you have to trade them at this point. Look, I mean, I will be trading these again today. I'm just going to be blunt about it. Like, I definitely will be trading these today. But for me, the way to look at them is just to overlay the fib levels that I drew, right? I came up with how I saw how I think they should be drawn. And so far, they're respecting them, right? You have to look at fib levels as a range, okay? You can't look at them as a be-all, end-all. But when you know how to draw them properly, you can kind of see what's going on here, right? So this is not crazy for it to reject right where it did. And I left these in since yesterday, just FYI. So you can kind of see where the one started, right, and where I'm overlaying. So for me, that's what I'll be using to trade it today. I will definitely be trading this today. I will also be trading this today. The coverage they got last night on the news media was staggering, and the amount of people that are asking and want a piece of it is pretty great. It's people looking at it as a gold rush. Whether or not it turns out to work or not, time is only going to tell. But people feel that they missed out on the Twitters and the Facebooks of the world, and they're jumping into this platform. Or they're jumping in on the opportunity. I'll leave it at there. Fun. Yeah, I know a lot of people were looking at this one. So, up 5, Funware. I'm not really sure why. I guess maybe based upon the what do you call it news? The DWAC news. So apparently they have, they're getting some interest because of that. This is not something I'm going to chase. I don't understand why it's up so much. If I was in this and I was fortunate enough to buy it at the end of the day, yesterday, right? I mean, if you were fortunate enough to buy it here at $1.90 and you're up to $5, I'd be out. I mean, it's not something I'm going to be playing with, right? You can already start seeing here. You already can start seeing the fading of it, right? So, the difference between, if this is moving based upon the DWAC news, the difference is people want to own that company, right? They think that company is going to be around a long time. So I don't know what's going on here, but you can see the wedge line. Maybe you break the wedge line, you want to try it, go for it. But it's not something that I'm interested in. And if I was in this, I'd be seriously thinking of taking a profit, at least locking something in. Good morning. Goldman Sachs for 11:15 calls is appreciated. Yep, you got it. So let's go through that. So, okay. There's your level, right? I mean, that's what you have to think about right now. On top of that, you're having an issue with it. You came out with earnings. We saw what happened with the earnings, but look at this, okay? You're forming a wedge, right? You see that wedge line? So if you break over that wedge line, you have a shot here. Now, this long-legged doji would concern me. Let's just look at something here. Yeah. So this would concern me a little bit, this bar. But watch this wedge. If you break through that, you're going to go back to this level. That's what I would focus on. And let's do NVIDIA and Apple. NVIDIA I covered. Hopefully you saw it, Zane. Apple, I think, just looks great. I mean, look, this is, see this wick right here? The first wick you have to get over was that one. You got over it. Second wick you have to get over is this one. Guess what? You got over it. So to me, from where you're at right now, I think this offers tremendous potential to get to 155. I mean, I can overlay the bells and whistles, put the indicators in. Look, you're above the 50-day. Everything above the 50-day is working, right? 155.5, okay? And I think you're going to run. I do. I think this is going to get up there. If the SPY breaks out the way that it is, I think you can head up that way. I really do. So I like Apple here. No, it's not too hot to handle. I mean, I'll be trading it. Am I buying it pre-market here? No. I mean, people from the trading room know that we were in and out of it yesterday. Maybe you held some of it, maybe you didn't, but would I be selling into it if I owned it and I held it overnight? Yeah, I'd be selling into this. Sure, of course. You know, but if you want to hold some of it, I don't view that as the worst idea. You don't know where this is going to go, and there's huge demand for what he's offering. I'm not going to get into the veracity of what he's offering, but if it's actually what he says it is or what the company's saying they're going to do, there's enormous demand for that. Enormous. And if I was the juggernaut social media companies, I'd be very concerned, frankly. RBLX team blank. So, yeah, I mean, I see this 50-day pop. You broke this trend line, right? You came down. Maybe it goes, maybe. I don't know. The earnings haven't been too great when they've come out. So maybe it goes, but you have a lot of resistance in here, right? You can see this peak back to here, right? Just see this level and how you've been playing this level. Look, see it? Right? Rejection, support, resistance, right? This is a big level. So if you get through this level, and I mean, just look where you just closed, 83.77. So if you can get up and close over that level, maybe take a look at it. Other than that, I really wouldn't take a look at it. Team, yeah, I mean, I'm just watching my line. I have a line up here. That's actually off. Here's my line. I'm just watching this. I mean, this was the first buy here, right? When you broke out of that range. Here, let me throw it this way. So when I broke out of this range, that was the first time. And then we bought it up here, and then we got stopped out. And now here we go again, right? So it's actually moving fairly nicely. Breaking above that level would definitely have me interested. And earnings are coming out. So just FYI, and be, aware of that. But I could see why you're looking at that name. I like team. So, and let's do PayPal. So I don't know, I think that you have just the arbitrage guys that are just absolutely hammering it. To me, it has just gotten grossly overdone at this point. And, maybe you see the snapback today. I'm not sure, but it just seems grossly overdone for what it is. And, maybe you snap back here, maybe you don't, but I would be watching this like a hawk. If you snap back here, you could come back to half this gain. So there's a snapback here. It's just a question of when it happens. Maybe you buy it, and then if it just takes out that low of 241, you just get out of the way, right? So let's just keep going. And yeah, I think they both can break out, Jeremy. Blank. Yeah, I know a lot of people are looking at this. Look, these are all predicated upon one thing, okay? They're all predicated on one thing. They're all predicated on this bill that's supposed to pass, okay? And I mean, just to put it in perspective, I don't foresee this bill passing. Like, I just don't see anything getting done. Like, if you watch any of this stuff, right, you're not seeing any real movement. I know people are all excited. Oh, we're going to break the 50-day this time. Maybe you do. If you do break the 50-day, yeah, you could get up to this 200-day again. Yes, that is possible, but I'm not holding my breath for it. I'm not out here holding my breath saying, no, that's definitely going to happen. I just don't think they're going to get anything done on that bill. It's just my opinion. I've watched this too many times. Bros, Bros I like. So I like this. I'm just waiting, right? So 62 is the level, and you can see what's going on here, right? Got a little thing going that probably just clears when you get through that 62, right? So I like to see it over 62, and you can kind of see your support, another support level here where you stop dropping. So somebody's out there buying it at this level. So to keep that in mind. So let's just see. MNDY. and DOCN. All right, you got it. MNDY. Some other names here. Yeah, I mean, look, you're respecting the 50-day, but you're just not getting anywhere. And every single time, I don't really need that. Every single time that you are breaking out, what's happening? You're pulling right back. So it's not something that we want to see, right? I mean, that's not something that's going to be warm and fuzzy. That's not too exciting. Could it go? I don't know. Do we have an earnings date coming up? You got time. I don't see this. I don't see this as something that I'd be rushing into. If we take out this pre and post, does it get cleaner? No, it doesn't really. So that's not something I'd be going crazy about on right there. Nightmare. This has my attention. So let me just show you this. Okay. Here's your upper trend line, right? And you can see how you've touched it, rejected, couldn't quite make it, got over, but this is an interesting move today, right? So let's see if it has follow through. But you see this 94.63? See, you got through these wicks that weren't wicks before. Oh, let me pull that down. So this, if I was going to focus, and then I'd see how we do when we get to this 100 level, and see how it acts, right? That's what I would do. That's how I would trade it. So you can't chase that. You know, you can't chase it. What you have to do with it is you have to look. You have to be confident enough in your position and your charts and understanding charts to then take a position in it. You cannot just go randomly out and buy this because you can get cut in half, right? So if you're scared of it, don't do it. I mean, that's pretty clean, right? Pretty simple. If you're scared of it, don't touch it. I mean, that's how I look at it. If it's not something I'm overly confident with, just go on to the next trade. Who cares? I mean, look, one trade's not going to make or break you, right? I mean, it doesn't work that way. So you just have to keep that in mind. That's not how it goes. If it's too aggressive for you, you just go on to the next one. You don't want to eat up your emotional capital over one trade. So. Oh, you're welcome, Nightmare. And just to point out, again, that there's something there. So keep that in mind. Let's take a look at that. So in regards to Affirm, UPST, we did. Look, in regards to Affirm, okay, so here's where you're at, right? And you can see how you're doing here, right? I don't get it. I don't see it. Does it work? Could it work? Absolutely. Get over the hump of this today, 156, right? That 156.16, and it absolutely can work. There's no question about it. Does that mean that that's something I want to rush into? Not really. I think there's much better charts out there than this. I really do. I just don't see this as something that I need to be jumping into right now. There's some massive money moving into this market, into really big names, and I think that's going to continue, and that's really where I want to be. That's really what my focus is. Let me put it to you that way. So let's just keep rocking and rolling here. HUT, yeah, I mean, look, HUT's going to move based upon what? Bitcoin. And I think a lot of these names are going to start losing their luster when people realize that they can just buy this, right? They can just buy this now. Now they own Bitcoin, right? I actually think you're going to see a divergence like you see in oil between physical oil and silver, right? Versus physical Bitcoin and Bitcoin. People don't really want to own Bitcoin, right? They want to own, let me rephrase that. Some people really want to own Bitcoin. Other people just want to make money off the movement of it, right? And so this allows you to do that. And I think that these kinds of names, they're going to start becoming secondary, right? Because you don't need them as vehicles anymore to trade them. I think the same thing's going to happen here with this, right? This obviously is moving on the Bitcoin news as an underlying asset, but all of a sudden now we have a real trading vehicle. And I think that that's going to take precedent. P10, Naresh, let's see what's going on with Peloton. So yeah, I mean, again, this 96 level, watch it. I know people are excited because you have this cross here, and maybe it does go here. Maybe it does get back up to that 98 level. And we're gonna have to go from there. So and we're gonna have to kind of see how that plays out today. So let's just keep rocking and rolling here. Thoughts on crowd long? I like it. It's on a short list. So I like it. It's definitely on a short list, to say the least. So look, this 288 to here, 284. I like it. I think you just got to get through that level. And right now we're having a hard time with that. So let's see how it goes. But you need to get through that level. AMC. So, yeah, I mean, look, you tried to get over your 50 and you didn't. And then you failed and now you're here. It's not where you want to be. Where you wanted to be was breaking up and over that. And that's not what happened. So right now you just have to be really cautious because this is kind of setting up like a lot of these guys set up, right? Like, I don't know if you played these or not, but does that pattern look familiar? Right? You know, I mean, the thing about the stock market, right? When you start being able to replicate patterns and understand the patterns, it kind of tells you what's going on. So I'd be cautious here. You need to break a higher high. So, Maxer. Yeah, again, you see how you're here. I mean, this is not something you need to then when you do this, like you have to understand once you do this, now you need to base before you can go higher. Like this is, you can look at stocks as far as stages, right? But this is a blow off, right? And so then you keep trying to relive the glory days, but just not happening. So just consider that. Roku looks like it's sitting at support at 325. It could be. I mean, for me, I'd like to buy. Look, I traded it last night on the sell down. Like, if I can get this close to the 21 day again, yeah, I'm going to give it another try. I don't. Again, the sell off to me didn't make any sense. It really didn't make any sense to me. So let's just see what happens. But overall. That's just how I feel. EH and MP. So what you're seeing here, right? EHang Holdings. I'm not really sure what they do. We have a lot of stuff in here from before. Let's just clean this all out. We've obviously played with this. Again, here's your peak. Here's your rally. And now you're basing. This is not something I would go near or be trying to build a position in, to say the least. I'd be watching this very, very cautiously. MP, I mean, you're just basing on that. Now, this finally looks like it might do something, right? So here's your base, right? You've been basing for some time. Now you're making a higher high here. This could go, and you could pop over these levels. Okay, you could really pop over those levels. So I like it. That might move, but get over this peak again and see how it does, right? And then just use the 200 day as a stop. I like that trade way better, Andres, than the other trade that you gave me. So, or the other one. Oh, you're welcome, Nightmare. Hi, Christine. So coin, you had a nice move and then we pulled back, right? So the question is it over? I don't know that it's over, but we're clearly having issue with this 307 level, right? This volume is pretty. The selling volume is not as great as we just had on the buying side. So I don't really see a sense to do anything. How I look at it is this is something that, you might want to just watch a little bit and see how it does. Maybe this trades itself up, but you got to watch this level now. See, when you have these red bars come down, you have to work through that red bar before you can even think about buying it, right? Because it's just straight selling. And you also have to look at the history, right, of a company. So let's get rid of these indicators, and I'll show you what I mean. So you have a red bar here and see what happened. Red bar, long, nasty red bar here, what happened? Long, red, nasty bar, what happened, right? And now we're here again. So you need to take that into account. So I thought it could get back up to this 344 level. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Hi, Boca. MSOS. Let's take a look. See what's going on. I would not be going near this. I would not be going near this. I don't know why it's dropping the way that it's dropping. And I don't know exactly. It's just as pure US. I don't know what you're buying, but this is not appealing to me at all. Do I think it's bottom? No, I don't see any sign that it's bottom. Whatever it is, it's just working itself lower and lower. So I would hold off. I mean, hopefully you can hold one of these levels down here, like 26. What I would argue is that I would look for a spot, like let's say you're trying to buy this like super long term, right? Okay. So we already know it can't close above the 50-day, right? So that's what I would use. See, I can't close above the 50-day here. Can't close above the 50-day. As soon as it broke the 50-day, it respected it the whole way. It's never been above it since March. So there's your signal. That's what I would use as a signal if I was looking for a long-term trade. I would use MSOS, right? I'd use the 50-day on that stock. Yeah, Swing, it's all in the beginning. No, I wouldn't bottom fish there. It's pretty telling that nobody came out and tried. I can get rid of all this. It's pretty telling on Viacom that nobody came out and tried to buy the company. Let's get rid of everything. It's pretty telling to me that nobody tried to buy that company after this enormous crash, right? By that guy that just kept riding it up and riding it up. So, we have to see what happens here. But no, this is not something that I would go near. Not at all. I would avoid that. I have no idea if they're going to have good earnings or not. Apparently, it doesn't matter, right? If you look at the past. So thanks, Shane. Yeah, please hit the like button and please share this. I don't run ads on purpose. Pins. Yeah, I think you have to watch pins here, right? So you had a lot of action. If I was PayPal and I just watched what happened to Snap, I may be a little concerned, right? Maybe I don't understand all the nuances, or maybe they think Pins is going to cash out at a cheaper price because Snap's issues are going to affect PayPal or Pins. I don't know. I don't know how they think. I can only look at levels. 60.88 is the level. We can't break it. Snap's news is not going to drive this stock up today, right? We all know that, right? So that's not something I'd look for. Dufree, I can take a look. It doesn't sound like a symbol that I'm going to have, but I can take a look. Yep, there it is. So it's an ADR. Okay, I must have looked at this before. Let's clear all this stuff out. Yeah, I mean, it's a thin name here as an ADR, but you rejected your 200-day, and once you rejected that 200-day, I would avoid it. If you're rejecting the 200-day and you're rejecting the 50-day, why do I want to be in it? Right? It doesn't make sense to put your money in it. There's too many other names. Good morning. Hey, Evan, good morning. RVLV. Let's get some here. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, what's the earnings again coming up? Like whatever they do, in regards to utilizing influencers, they do very well. This was one that I had a position in a while ago and I sold it. Obviously, it's gone up substantially since then. But look, this can continue. This can really continue. Get through the 73 level, right? Which you're doing up here. You're building a flag, right? And these are all pointing up and they're getting wider. So yeah, this could have follow through. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. We don't need any of the text. And when are earnings? Yeah, you're coming up on them. So, and it goes one way or another pretty violently on earnings, doesn't it? October 22nd. Here's earnings, right? So sometimes it runs up and then just gets absolutely hammered. So something to consider if you're buying into that. CCXI, sure, Jen. So, it's one I've been talking about and looking at. I'm not going to get into the earnings on it because it's not really that relevant. If I get rid of this and I just look at without pre and post, okay, what are we doing? What's the one thing that this stock is doing? It's respecting the 200-day, right? So if we're respecting the 200-day and we can respect the 200-day, then that's something that we really want to be involved with, right? I mean, that's really appealing. right? If we can respect that level. So that's what we want to focus on. So see how you're undercutted here and then you ran back up? That's exactly what you want. Now the 8-day is kind of an issue, but you can't expect the 8-day to catch up to that, right? And the reason for that is because we're just not aware of where we're at in the pecking order. But getting above this 41, yes, you definitely have me interested. And near this 29, yeah, I'm interested. But now we know the 200-day also is being respected. So I would look at that. IIPR is on my radar. We had this in the newsletter, and we did really well with it. And now look at it, right? That's pretty clean yesterday, isn't it? Let's see how it acts this morning. To me, that's really a very clean move. And it's a very thin name, but you based and then you broke out of that base. I mean, it's pretty clean what happened here, right? Straight across, and we can see that. So it's definitely something that would be on my radar, especially with that W move. And then hopping right back into what? This channel right here. Look at this channel, right? Look at this channel. So this has a lot of potential. I like it. I like that a lot. I don't know if DWAC will reach 100. I don't know if it's going to go past that. I mean, all I'm looking for is for it to pull back and trade it, continue to trade it like I did yesterday. That's all I'm doing. Looking at patterns. I don't want to put a limiting belief in my head like that. UEC. I don't want to think about where it can go. I just want it to just trade. So I'd be really careful there with saying, oh, it's going to get to 100. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. So uranium energy, yep, you broke out. And then maybe you're going to consolidate for a little bit, right? These all move on pricing. They all move on uranium pricing. So if uranium pricing is good, then this is good. If it's not good, then this comes in. I mean, to me, all the uranium names are one big trade. That's how I look at them, Steve. It's one big trade. DCBO. So DCBO, look, you're breaking out right above that 50-day. This is a perfect kind of trade that we're talking about. You break above that 50-day and then you start going. You're going to have an issue here, possibly at 83.5. But you could probably get back up to that 89 level. I'd like to see more volume. You don't have a lot of volume there. So CMG, people love this name. Yeah, you broke your 50-day and you're rolling. I mean, it's not what I would be buying, right? And now you're coming out with earnings where you had earnings. Yeah, it's not something I'd be going near. You're still below the 50-day. So I'd be looking for stocks above the 50-day. Tilray, Baba. Tilray, Tilray had its day, right? It ran, and where's it stopping? Okay, are we getting over that this morning? No. So, I mean, it's pretty clean what you have to watch, right? You just have to watch that 50-day. We went right to it, rejected. I mean, I had a decent trade in it this week, but it's not something that I would be buying right here. Baba, I hope goes up so I can short more of it. I mean, right now we're sitting at that 180 level, and you're above the 50-day, so it can go. It could keep going. But you have to say you respond to this 180 level. Maybe that's enough, and that will roll back down. I'm not sure yet. I'm not seeing signs of that at all, that it's getting ready to roll back down. The 8's pointing up, the 21's pointing up, the 50's starting to curl. Maybe it goes up for a little bit. I don't know. It's rare that it stays above the 50-day very long, right? Since the beginning of the year, it's hardly stayed above the 50-day. So it's not something that I'm going to convince myself is going to continue. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. Is Docs a short candidate? Well, I don't know. Yeah, I could see how you think that. Like, I mean, here is probably the spot, right? Do you short it here? I mean, like, what's really the edge? What's your edge now, right? Now you're just going to start running into all these little support levels here. So I don't know. I'd be careful shorting it now. You can actually look at volume by price and just see what's going on short term with it. So you can see this gap right here. So maybe you can come down to 60 because you have a gap. There's really no supply. So there's no one there to stop it. So yeah, you could come down to 60. It could happen. So it's not something I would short. ZIM I like a lot. So ZIM's a stock I like. We're just not there. As far as the company, I mean, they have great earnings. They've done exceptionally well, and we've done well trading it. But you've broken above this level, and you're having trouble with the 50-day. And I can click off of the volume by price now. We don't really need it, but you got to watch that 50-day, and we're having a hard time with it. So let me just jump to the front here as we're running out of time. Let's just take a look. So yeah, I mean, it's just fading. I don't know why we're fading on it. To me, it's kind of interesting. Maybe there's something coming out in earnings and they're going to have an issue of some kind. I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, I don't know why you would drop the way that you dropped yesterday. I can't imagine that people think that this new social media company is going to affect Google and YouTube. I mean, I doubt that highly. For me, if I was concerned, if I was looking at social media, if I was Twitter, I think that's really their market. That's the one that's probably going to get hurt the most if he's able to pull this off. So just keep going. PISAIC. Yeah, I mean, that can go. Yes, that could keep going. I'd like to see more volume. It's very thinly traded and you're coming into earnings, but that could go. Last earnings, it did fairly well, right? This one, not so much. Not so much. So I'm not really sure what they do, but yeah, that's getting tighter and tighter. And you're working your way up. So that can work. I don't know that I'd be buying it before earnings, Isaiah. SAIC. And then I'm going to do a couple more and then we're going to have to get out of here. Yeah, I like that a lot. You have a lot of different levels that I have marked off in resistance spots, but at least I'm above the 50-day. I'm above the 21, the 8. Everything's curling and everything's pointing up. So I like it. I would not be a buyer of NVAX here, so I would not be a buyer of that at all. It's something that I would just hold off on. It's not something that I would go near. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I don't think there's any type of short-term play. I mean, we had one the other day where we traded it and we did okay with the trade, but then it just rolled right back down. So I would just watch the 117. Look, you could come out with earnings and have an issue. Yep, Root, it's in there. So if it's in there, just go through the names and then you can just put this on double speed again and you can see the names. I don't have time to timestamp all these, which would probably make everyone's life a little bit better. I just don't have the time. So that's it. All right, everybody, I got to jump here. Time to go get paid. Any questions, reach out, just email me and we'll go from there.